Thank you so much, Christine. Again, please follow if you would like to stay put on all the stuff that we are doing. Please get into the group because they are doing an amazing job. Any helper is doing an amazing job in helping entrepreneurs to understand the market, to understand the challenges, and I believe that the information they give and everything that they do there is so helpful and so important. Thank you so much for that. And now we get to our panel discussion, right? Which is what we all look forward. And we're going to kick off by getting to know our guest situation a little bit by the first question. And this first question is, while the whole city is slowing down as it is right now, with this pandemic situation, how can you be so busy? We would love to know that. So let's start with Katarina. Please, can you share your thoughts? I mean, I know you three, right, are so busy at the moment, and I would like to know, I mean, everybody is slowing down, everything is so slow. How come you are so busy?
Thank you for the question. I think one of the reasons is because we can do everything online now. So we have more time available to do more projects than before. For example, I'm also a member of a Toastmasters club. So in the regular time, I need to commute to downtown, and I need to spend an hour and a half to arrive there and spend 3 hours in the meeting and then spend another hour and a half to come back. But now I just log in and I'm there. So I believe this is also one of the things that is very helpful, because we can actually save some time on going around the city and just do everything online, and this gives more opportunities. Also, the WeChat groups are blowing up, like so many things to do every day, so many projects. Other speakers also mentioned that we have different communities we can join, such as Monday Motivation and other things. There are always some posters floating around. So if you want to get busy, you can get very busy very quickly. It also depends on your preferences, what you want to do. And thank you for complimenting my logo, since one of my skills is graphic design, I always find something to, keep myself busy with. I want to fix something, I want to make it look better. So even if I don't have a project at hand, I will find something to keep myself busy, which will also let me take a rest from the situation, and dealing with the ordering food and just getting into the WeChat groups and checking everything about the lockdown and the current situation.
Brilliant. I actually agree with you. I mean, the worst thing you can do is just look down and think, oh, I don't have anything to do. I think it's best to find always stuff to do. And even if you don't have projects at hand, there is always so much that can be done here under this situation, right? And what about you, Janine?
To be honest, not much has changed in my life now. I'm actually lucky that tomorrow I have a new team member who I'm going to onboard in my team. It is true we have a little bit more time, which actually gives me time to improve a little bit of my leadership towards my team members. And especially there is something, I gotta be honest, to improve processes.
Yes.
Processes for the team members. So
Totally.
It's something that I kind of like procrastinated a little bit, that it's not super bad, but it's something I could have done better. So it gives me the time now to not make excuses, to get it done, to also improve things. Yeah, beyond this, I still do my coaching, my training. We do marketing. We do Monday morning motivation. I also have a little bit more time to interview more people for my new passion project, From Shanghai to the World. Just keep on going. On the other hand, because I realized when I was COVID positive last month, every day I was waiting to get picked up. So you have this inner insecurity, not insecurity, but uncertainty. You have a lot of different feelings, and I think we all go through a lot of weird feelings in these lockdown times. And the best thing that works for me is I keep myself busy. So I just try to make sure I'm always busy, and it just gives me a good feeling that at the end of the day, I did something meaningful for others. And if I also help other people throughout this challenging time, like although I was COVID positive, I started before that a 9-day lockdown positivity mood booster, and I continued doing it because at the same time it helped me myself as well, while I was able to help other people. So yeah, and if I'm bored, I come up with something new.
Exactly, exactly. For me, in my case, I don't know some other entrepreneurs, but in my case, I do actually find myself much busier now than before because everything is so digital, right? Everything can be done online, almost everything except eating hamburgers. But I mean, it's so busy time now, much busier than before because people tend to request things sooner, right? Where before was like, okay, let's meet sometime next week and talk about it. Now it's like, all right, let's do a meeting at 2 p.m. So it's I find myself getting into this super hyper rhythm in Shanghai that makes speeds the process, and everything. The good thing is that speeds everything as well, right? So your projects get done sooner, and you have more time as well for other projects, right? What about you, Victor? What do you think?
Yeah, so in my case, it's almost the same. So we are lucky that we can do all the work remotely. Also, we are quite lucky that we already had some projects starting before the lockdown, so quite good. But yeah, I mean, remote work for us takes more time because mainly you need to communicate more. You know, you every few hours, minutes, you need to make some calls and stuff. So it takes more time, everything. So that's why probably we are more busy every day, and that's good. So the days passes quicker. But I think like since we need to communicate more, you know, through calls and stuff, what we did is to delegate more, and you know, to everyone having their role, really their responsibility really clear, so that will be
Totally
more
agree.
efficient for the, you know, teamwork.
Absolutely agree. I think so. Yeah, because in taking so many more projects than before, since everything is done so fast and digital, you tend to take over to overload, right? To overwork, and it's our passion, right? We like what we are doing. I think most of entrepreneurs do like what they are doing. That's why they become entrepreneurs. So it's easy to overwork, and I completely agree that the best option that you can do is definitely to delegate and to get rid of things that you learn to say no sometimes as well, and to make sure that everybody has very clear the tasks, so you don't have to follow people. You just like let people know what they have to do. I completely agree. So my next question is more focused on the practical side of understanding the market here in Shanghai. In your experience, how is the Shanghai market acting differently from other markets in China, from other Chinese markets? And let's begin with Victor. Actually, let's. So how do you think the Chinese market acts different from? Shanghai market different from
Okay.
Chinese other markets?
But you mean in which sense? Like you mean our clients, for example, or projects?
Yes. Yes, for example, but in general, the Shanghai market, I think, is pretty unique. So in your situation, in your company, in your experience, how do you think it behaves differently in Shanghai from other Chinese markets?
Yeah, I mean, in general, is more straightforward, I think. More direct, and it's more business driven, right? But I think
Completely agree.
the main thing is in Shanghai is really diverse. I mean, you have international projects, international clients, also local projects. So I think it's diversity definitely, and yeah, and I think it's more business driven for sure. Yeah, I
I
think that's
completely
really
agree with you. Completely
good.
agree. What about you, Katarina? Katarina, should say, right? Katarina.
Yes, you can also say Kate. It's okay. Just like
Oh,
a
that's good.
foreign sounding nickname. Yeah. I
Awesome.
actually agree with Victor, really, because Shanghai is the fabulous city. Everything is here, and many different nationalities, many different brands, products. Everything is here. You can find whatever you need, and whatever you never even imagined you need, you can still find it. So I don't have still much experience with other cities business wise, but when I traveled before out to some other cities, I could see the clear difference. Here, this community is so diverse, as Victor mentioned, and this is why it has a lot of opportunities, and seems like the opportunities are never ending. Now, since we are in a lockdown, even so, we are in a lockdown, we found different ways to go through this and still continue developing our brands, developing our business, finding new clients, finding new connections, which I don't know would be so easy, if I may say, in some smaller cities or some other countries even. When talking to friends from back home, they already went through this kind of thing last year or the year before. They went online, but for them it was not so simple. I can't say it was so kind of easygoing like maybe it looks for us. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's very simple. You can just go and get it done, but still there are many opportunities around each corner, and we can just be present and try to choose. I also like to think about how I can also learn from other people in the community, because not every personality suits the same patterns, right? So maybe somebody wants to promote more, somebody wants to be present everywhere, somebody wants to have so many different platforms, but being present in the community can also give you a sense of learning. You can choose, I like this approach, I maybe don't like this approach that much. So you can also balance your future steps.
Oh, that was a great answer. I do agree quite a lot with what you said, and myself have traveled all around China because I've been in different roles. So I do agree with both you and Victor in one thing, and is that the diversity in Shanghai is very unique, because when you go to other regions in China, perhaps they are more conservative. It's good to actually know this, and when you travel around, because then you need to be prepared, you need to be more you need to understand more the China culture and China market, right, in that sense. So this is why I love to ask this question, because depending on what you do, it is so different, right? I've got other people saying, for me it's even easier when I travel to other regions, and I'm shocked, because being a foreigner and as an entrepreneur, sometimes it could be really an advantage when you go to other regions, and they are so welcome, they're so hospitable, they like to talk to foreigners, right? So what about you, Janine? What do you think?
So for me, it was a strategic decision. I was supposed to be back in Germany in my full-time corporate job, which I loved. I loved HP. But I really understood that coaching, as well as happiness, like consulting of happiness in workplaces, is already big in the US. But even if you look at Germany, where I come from, so I don't know, it just didn't feel right. It felt like they don't really need me. And here I felt like I can have a bigger impact. So I felt like I can really make a difference in people. Although I have to say that kind of market is still not mature yet, it's still quite new, I would say. But isn't that good? Isn't that an opportunity for us? And the nice thing about Shanghai is I always see it as a good mixture out of the Eastern and the Western world. So it's kind of like yes, a developing country somehow, or like, let's say, other culture mentality. So coaching and happiness consulting here in China is something new. But at the same time, because they're so open-minded and everything new also coming from the West, they're open to try it out in China. So this is why it was not completely new, and the potential is really big here in Shanghai. And I thought from Shanghai, it's so nice to spread to a lot of other cities. So I just see Shanghai as a good mixture out of the both worlds and full of opportunities. What probably people would have said about the US and New York back in the days. I think this is what Shanghai is for me.
I completely agree. For me, it's the same. I do feel that it's a very unique market and unique city compared to other regions. And yeah, it's for me, it's also more suitable as well. Though I've done other businesses that went better perhaps in other regions because you are more unique. Perhaps your business is less of is more less rare, or perhaps because your business is not you don't have that many competitors as you would have in Shanghai, right? Which we know competition can be very aggressive here. Good. So my next question, I'm sure will be very interesting for those within the audience who might be abroad or perhaps in China, but they are thinking to open a business here. So starting with Katarina, how should we turn this situation that we're going through right now, this epidemic situation, how should we turn this into an opportunity? What do you think? How should we do that?
I think it can give us more time. This is what we usually don't have, right? It can give us more time to think about, are we okay with our idea? So for example, I want to open a new business now, and I wanted to do it, and the city went into lockdown. So what am I going to do now? First, you remember the whole story. It was supposed to be 2 days and then 4 days, and the days gradually moved. So if I'm a new entrepreneur, just trying to find my own way and what to do, I would try to use this period of time to make sure about my idea, maybe procrastinate a little bit longer, make some notes, learn from people who already did go through that or are now going through that. Because even for us who already have our own companies here, we also need to adjust in this situation. We couldn't just continue, most of us maybe couldn't just continue business as usual. Something had to change and something had to adapt to the situation that we are currently in a lockdown. I believe the opportunity, just being lucky, do I want to say lucky? Yeah, okay, let me say lucky to have time on hands and not being somewhere else than at your house is enough to give you the window, and you can look through that window and take a look at everybody else's ideas. And I'm also confident many new ideas will emerge, because even when the lockdown is over, it's not going to be over overnight like that. So we will still need to have a period of time when we will go through some adjusting. And also all of that depends on what is your original goal. If somebody's original goal in becoming an entrepreneur is to get rich very quickly, then I have no advices, because I think it's not possible very quickly, right? Yes, it's not going to happen. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of learning, a lot of trying and failing. So maybe if you want to try, you can also use the time to accept, okay, maybe I will try and I will fail, but do I still want to try? Encourage yourself, find your tribe, find your community that can help you, lift you up if you feel like maybe I'm supposed to give up. I'm not so sure this is for me. I think this period of time can be used in that direction. Identify, is that what you really want? And what can you do if something doesn't go exactly as you planned? So you have more time right about now to research and make a backup plan. How can you readjust if the lockdown is prolonged, if the offices are not open, and other stuff.
Absolutely. And what about you, Victor? What do you think? How can we turn this situation into an opportunity for business?
Yeah, in my case, I try to take it as a time to connect with people. I think at least in Shanghai, it's easy, like with the lockdown, to to reach those people that normally are more difficult to reach, because at the end there's the same topic, right? Like the lockdown, and it's easier to break the ice, I think. So there's a common
Very
topic.
true.
So I take it like this opportunity to connect with, I don't know, potential clients, potential collaborations, or I don't know, new potential, designers that can join us. So yeah, I think that's the main thing. I think I taking the advantage. Also, I mean, everything now, since everyone is in their home, I think social media is super important, and people spend more time in social media. And it's also a way to, to communicate, to say the things you want to say.
And to promote.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I totally agree. In fact, I found myself now connecting to people who before, otherwise, like without the pandemic, otherwise these people would be too busy, would be unable to contact, and or they would just go like, "Oh, right, when you come to this place, we'll have a coffee together and we can discuss." But now they are open to discuss because everybody is locked down, and now they open to do a meeting, and they will be more technological than before. They will be open to do that. So totally agree with you. And what about you, Janine? What do you think?
So I just started a new mentoring group. And the nice thing is that with them, they're just starting to open their companies. And we go back to the basics. What are the basics? Who is your target group? Who's your niche, right? What are their needs? What do they want? What is your business model? What is your unique value proposition? Like the basics of the basics of entrepreneurship. But if we actually go back to this, we want to make sure, it's a good reminder even for me, that we actually need to go through these basics more regular. We should probably go through this, let's say, every 6 months or even more often. So while going through this with the people who I'm mentoring and coaching, it was a very good example for me again, like, okay, to like, it also started to make me think again. So yeah, beyond this, because I was COVID positive, I actually started to think about my life from a different angle. I know my purpose. I'm not going to continue anything of what I have built up. I'm not going to stop doing of what I have built up. I'm going to continue. But it broadened my mind. I started to look at the world, at my life, my family, my cats from a lot of different angles. So this is like, I really believe a lot in, no matter how bad or difficult a situation is, it's full of opportunities, full of learnings, and even these tough times make you so strong and creative. What I said in my beginning speech. So yeah, maybe now it's time for us to go through some lessons learned, because we're always too busy to really focus on this, and to go back to the basics and adjust it.
I completely agree. I believe there is opportunity on everything that happens. There is always opportunities emerging, even though when the situation can be very frustrating. And I do understand some people, they come to me very negative thoughts, and because the situation can be especially hard for those that are alone, or for those that whose family members are very, very far, they haven't seen them long time, things like that. So I would try to think positive, mostly to find opportunities where other people cannot even see it, right? I think that's a really key point there. And this next question that I do have is a question I really look forward to ask, because I think it's very practical. It will help, especially help those going through the pandemic here in those entrepreneurs that are going through the pandemic here. So what are the do's and the don'ts that you would recommend to other entrepreneurs so they can avoid or prevent what you think is coming, or what came to you? right? So what are the do's and don'ts that could you would recommend them to do? First, perhaps Victor.
Yeah, also some personal experience. Maybe those. Yeah. So in my case, I try to keep myself happy. That's easy to say, but yeah, what I realized, like
Totally.
at least myself, is that I only can give happiness if I'm happy. So I would try to,
Absolutely.
do the things I like first of all, and then I know I can help others. So it's like in the airplane, when they say like you need to put your mask first and then put your kids' mask. So I try to keep myself happy first of all. Yeah. And what else? Yeah, maybe try to focus and simplify life. uh yeah, at least the things that it takes time and is not so helpful, maybe, yeah, is a good thing to focus in what matters.
What about the don'ts? What do you recommend people don't to avoid or to prevent?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of prevention, I think you need to put time in working, let's say, having a stable life. Like in my case, um, when I started the business, I didn't put so much attention to family, to marriage. So at some point, it was really, really, not healthy. It was affecting the work. So later, I realized I need to, put some time on marriage, family, and the kid. Uh, and that's how more or less the lockdown, like before the lockdown, I was more or less stable. So I could, more or less get through this lockdown, smoothly. Yeah.
I can relate. I can totally relate to that, and I completely agree with you. Yeah, we'll talk about this privately. I can totally relate to that, and completely agree. So, what about you, Katarina? What are your do and your don'ts? And for people who are going through this situation, what do you recommend to do? What do you recommend not to do?
First, focus more on do. Whatever idea you have, you try and do it.
Yes.
It's not going anywhere. You are in your house, nothing
Yes.
can happen, right? It's not like you're outside, somebody will see you and it's going to become horrible. So, whatever you want to try, you try. I want to mention what you're not supposed to try, what you're not supposed to do. I would encourage you not to do. Do not be too hard on yourself. We are all humans. We all have different emotions, needs, energy when we wake up in the morning. I really love seeing all this diverse and interesting, motivating stuff all over the communities, all over Facebook, Instagram, and everywhere. But try not to fall into the trap. I need to wake up at 5 a.m. If I don't wake up at 5 a.m., my day is dead. I need to do this. If I didn't do it, I'm a failure. So I'm encouraging everybody, please don't do that, especially not in such a difficult situation like a lockdown for how many days we don't even know. I would need to check the calendar to tell you properly how many days. So be kind to yourself. Treat yourself as you would treat your best friend. If your best friend will come today and tell you, oh, I have this issue, I'm feeling like that, you're not going to tell them you're a failure and you did this wrong. Of course, you're going to try and give them compassion and support. Then please don't do anything different to yourself. This would be my encouragement for don'ts. And for do's, whatever idea you have, if you don't have the time right now, write it down and then try and do it tomorrow, in 2 days, later in the afternoon, anytime.
I just changed my alarm to 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Awesome.
Thank you for that. Thanks a lot for that. And
My pleasure.
Janine, please, I'm looking forward to hear your ideas about do's and don'ts.
I think I have to go back to lessons learned probably. And I agree with what Victor said. I had a teacher when I studied in Suzhou who said, Janine, if you're not in your best state, you're not happy with yourself, you don't take self-care, or you're not compassionate with yourself, then you cannot give your best for other people as well. So you should come back first. And that is something I'm still learning, I have to be honest. So work in progress.
Stuff.
And do is definitely try to find the best possible agent you can find. The agent that helped me set up my company is now in jail.
What?
And brought me, sorry?
Is now in jail?
Yes, so some of them, they were in jail under investigation. I would hope for them they're not in jail anymore. It's quite a big one. So yeah, try to find a good agent that can really help you to build up your company here, help you with your visa. So that is pretty important. If you need recommendations, I'm happy to give recommendations. I think this can really make a difference in your life. Which also brings us to the support system. So it is only that recently, my latest coach, I started working with him on something different. And then I realized he's an amazing business coach. So I switched my coaching into business coaching. And it's literally 2 weeks ago, I said, why did I not start earlier with you, working on these topics with you?
I can relate. I'm also that sort of situation. Recently, like starting to do the things that I feared. I was always like procrastinating not to do it. But then about a month ago, I started to do what I really wanted to do, just give it a go. And I regretted so much I didn't do it earlier. I would say to entrepreneurs, do what, just give it a go, just try it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. You can always just go and tell the person you're sorry, or you can always just change the project to something else, but not doing because you are afraid. That is the worst thing, the worst scenario for entrepreneur. I think is we tend to procrastinate a lot to try to do you go to do other things because you're afraid to do what you really want to do, right? I completely agree with that. That's fantastic. That is fantastic.
So basically, if I can just quickly sum this up, try to have a support system, because you are alone. You cannot rely that your friends or your family will support you. So get a coach, get a mentor, get a good agent, whatever it is, to help you through this, that you are not completely alone, basically. And for the don'ts, well, I love what Katarina also said, and like try not to be too perfectionist. Like as a German, we want 150% quality, right? No, we're entrepreneurs. 80% has to be good enough, Silicon Valley or China approach, and just do it, take action.
Germans, if you want to get someone to do the job properly, get a German friend to do it. That is amazing how they plan, and it's amazing. So continuing with the practical side of the discussion, this is a critical question for me. I'm really looking forward to hear your opinion. So starting with Katarina, for example, how do you plan for the future in a time like this? So is it worth spending time and energy developing a long-term business plan? Is it worth it?
First, I need to mention something, that I actually come from a small country where we usually live in survival mode. So if you need anybody to solve your problems, you ask us, because we've been through everything. This is one of the reasons.
Is the key.
Yes. Yes. And this is one of the reasons why the lockdown is already for such a long time here, and we still didn't decide to leave the country, because we already seen a lot worse things back home. So as much as that
lockdown is like, this is like a walk on the beach.
Yeah, I don't want to say that, because it's not for sure, and it's not for many people. But you know, having this kind of experiences early in your life, like we have from back home, it's like, okay, whatever happens, we can adjust. So I think it's really important to somewhere throughout your life, you can just grab that mindset, because it can grow into a skill later, but just
Yes.
give yourself, just give yourself the opportunity to not overthink. Like Janine mentioned, we don't need 150%. So if we want to plan ahead, we need to be aware of a few things. First of all, not many things are in our control, actually. It's in my control if I want to have a glass of water now, right? But it's not in my control if I want to walk out of the building anymore. So I need to be actually ready that something might happen that I can't control. And then what am I supposed to do? Is it my fault? Do I need to find whose fault it is? So planning is great, but planning needs to be adjustable. Any business plan you might have, any business idea you might have, for sure, go try and try to achieve it. But if it happens that some of the steps can't be as you wanted them to be, and for sure some of them will just, be like that, then you still
Totally.
need to have the strength to say, okay, this didn't work. How about we switch? Find somebody who can help you. Like other speakers said, connect to people, delegate, find more ideas. Don't just drop everything and feel miserable, because not everything is in our control. Many things aren't. So we need to separate in a couple of boxes. This I can control and this I can't. So what am I going to do about that? This is why I think planning in long term for me and for us as a family is a little bit different, because we come from this kind of upbringing. And I know that for many people who are coming from more developed countries, they're like, oh, yes, I can make a plan for 5 years in advance. That's great. If you can do that, awesome. But for us, it doesn't work like that. So I can't actually suggest, oh, yeah, for sure, you go and plan, because I can't let myself lean on this. I need to be adjustable. And this is one of the things I always have in mind.
I bet that there is quite a lot of CEOs now in Shanghai going like, there it goes my 5-year plan after this situation happens.
For sure.
For me, I don't say that this situation is not terrible. It is, in the sense that we're all going through a situation where things are a little bit chaotic. But I have been through worse before, and I worked actually with people who I used to be an immigration officer in a refugee camp in UK for 4 years, so I've seen a lot, and that helped me, as you mentioned earlier, that helped me to put the perspective very clear on what really matters, what doesn't matter, right? And why staying optimistic and positive, not the positive like the Janine positive,
not
but like
COVID
blind.
Yeah. I also want to mention. I also want to mention something when you mentioned refugees. Now, I was 11 when I was receiving refugees back home, because war was going on, and they were coming to our country, and my mom said she wants to go and help, and I said I want to go too. I was only 11, so that is when I saw such devastating consequences of somebody else's lives. And even now, when I mention it, my skin crawls. When you have this kind of experiences like you mentioned, then, oh, I want to earn money and I want to do business and I want to become famous like somebody. It doesn't apply anymore. It's not the greatest achievement. This is what I feel. Maybe for others it's not the same, This is why I mentioned the upbringing is also very important.
Money is definitely something that most of entrepreneurs think about.
Absolutely.
But I believe most of the entrepreneurs I've met, they are driven by passion. So I think they will agree with you. And what about you, Victor? What do you think? What is about this planning? Do you think it's worth spending time to do a long-term plan now under this circumstance?
Yeah, that is a good question. So what I think, I think long term is okay. Also short term, I think depends. As Katarina said, depends of the situation for sure. But also depends of the the goals. Like if it's big goals, you need long-term plannings. I mean, if it's short-term, I mean, if it's not a big goal, short-term is okay. I mean, it's not a good or bad thing, I think. So also about planning and changing the plan, I think is normal that the plan changes. So if the plan doesn't work, you should change the plan, but not the goal. So
Yeah.
in this lockdown, moment we are going through, we should be. I think we are changing the plans every day. Every moment.
Every day.
But
Absolutely.
at the end, if the goal is big or important, the goal shouldn't change.
Absolutely. Totally agree with you. What about you, Janine?
Well, as a German, that's my root, right? We love to plan, and to be honest, planning sometimes gives me like security, this inner feeling of just feeling
Of course.
secure. I know it comes from my cultural background. So I'm a big fan of plans. I don't have a 5-year plan, I have to be honest. I've also realized that when I did not have enough goals set for my team members to lead them on a yearly, monthly, weekly basis, even like for myself, that's when I know exactly that if I had those goals, I could have achieved even more. So I do think planning and setting goals are important, but I love what Victor said. We gotta like let go and change things, change the approach, how we get there. And to be honest, it's like when we create habits, we want to like lose weight or whatever it is, like we know that this is the goal, but sometimes if we change small things, maybe it takes a week longer or whatever it is, it's okay to adjust it, but don't erase it completely if it's really important for you.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and especially now in lockdown times, you will definitely see that a lot of people are rethinking their lives, their businesses. So yeah, as Victor said, just adjust it, be flexible like the Chinese.